Listening to Occupy the Media. I'm your host, Paco. Again, want to thank you if you're tuning in. Okay, so before the break, we were talking about we were talking about Mitt Romney clinching the nomination. Looks like they're going to give it to him today. They're already talking about it on the Washington Post and other headlines. Because today is a Texas primary. Don't forget to get out and vote for Ron Paul. If you're in Texas, it's very important. Make sure that we get the message out there that we do have another candidate, and Romney is not the nominee. Now, after the day, they're looking to give it to him. And if you guys can check it out at WashingtonPost.com, Mitt Romney to officially clinch Republican nomination on Tuesday. Which is so amazing how they can call that and how they can be so sure of that, because Mitt Romney is losing support, not gaining support, okay? More and more people are getting fed up with him as more and more people find out about him. But they're so sure he's going to win Texas. They're so positive. I wonder why. Because you can't believe the numbers. Numbers don't lie. The people that report them do. Again, numbers don't lie. The people that report them do. Okay? Now, it's funny. Somebody even asked Ron Paul about the voting system here, and it was just put up on YouTube. I don't know if this video is new or if it's just new on YouTube, but let's go ahead and hear Ron Paul's response about voting.
Dr. Paul, you started off your remarks today by talking about voter apathy. Can you spend a minute talking about the state of America's voting system? Do you think it's broken? Do you have an election reform plan that you put out there that you want people to know about?
No election reform plan. All I have is a plan to energize people with a message they think it's worth working for, and that's what we are finding. People who have never been in politics before, and people who had left politics, and they're coming in and they say, I have been, I made that pitch about you've cured my apathy, right. And I think it's true, and it's the message that does that.
Do you think that we should take a look at, first of all, do you know why we vote on Tuesday nowadays in 2007? Do you happen to know?
On Tuesdays?
The Tuesday after the first Monday in November?
I don't know how that originated.
It was a law, though, set by Congress in 1845 to make it convenient for farmers to vote. Do you think that we should take a look at maybe changing that to, maybe have national election holiday or elections on the weekends?
Yeah, it should be April 15th. That's when I'd like them to vote, and then they'll know what they're doing. They maybe throw a bunch of people out of office.
In 35 out of the 50 states, you can vote early, but in the 15 other states, you have no option but to vote on Tuesday during the opening hours of the poll. Take another look at that.
Not at the federal level. I mean, most of those are determined by the states, and I would argue that the states would have that prerogative.
Do you think that all states should take a good look at that, to make it more convenient for people to be able to get to the polls?
I like the convenience I have in Texas. Since I'm on the road and traveling, I like that opportunity to be able to vote other than on one Tuesday, because a lot of times I'd be in Washington. So to me, it was a real convenience. So I would argue for it.
Will you vote this time around using an absentee ballot?
Most likely, it's not an absentee ballot that I use. They opened up the polls. You can go
early voting.
Yeah, it's early voting, and it's like a couple weeks before. You can go to the polling booths are much reduced. Maybe there'll be 2 in your county,
right.
And I've always used that. I don't think I've ever used a ballot. That's a little more complicated, going and get the ballot and mail it back in. But I like the idea that I can go a week or 2 early at my convenience.
Just one final question. Do you have any opinion on paper trails for ballots? Do you think that we should have paper trails for ballots?
Yes, we should have a paper trail for the ballots. Even if the other's pretty reliable, you will never convince the people. And a paper trail is something that gives you the ultimate confidence that if you really want to check, you have a way to have a real recount.
Thanks very much, Dr. Paul.
Sure thing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, take care. That's Dr. Ron Paul on.
That's what I'm talking about. Like he said, you will never convince the people. We need a paper trail. We need to be able to see this. But what do we have? We don't have a paper trail. We have Diebold machines, electronic machines with ballots that don't even fit sometimes. So ridiculous. So many shenanigans going on with this voting. By the way, if you guys haven't checked out already, hiddenfourthbranch.com, hiddenfourthbranch.com on how we can combat voter fraud and try to expose it. Author Kelly Mordecai got a great website, great book. So you guys check that out. Again, hiddenfourthbranch.com. Now, Ron Paul's telling us, we need to have a paper trail and that people don't trust it. And I wonder why. It's because people like Mitt Romney, if we don't do this or don't have fair elections, people like Mitt Romney will be pushed as a nominee. And we all clearly know Mitt Romney was a big establishment candidate from the beginning, and we know that the majority of people, even Republicans, don't really want him. Even the ones that are voting for him now, they're being told to like him. You know, it's so amazing that the people that support and endorse Mitt Romney don't even enthusiastically like him either. Remember, people like Giuliani used to say that he had more jobs and created more jobs than Mitt Romney. This is the people they used to diss when they were running against him in the 2008 election. Well, Giuliani was asked on CNN about that issue because, you know, all these people supporting him were talking bad about him prior. And so there's a little clip about that, about Giuliani basically, I think, flip-flopping on Mitt Romney now. Let's see.
Taking a holiday this weekend, and one high-profile Republican didn't do Mitt Romney any favors in a TV interview the other day.
Jan Crawford is in Washington with the latest bump on the road to the White House. Jan, good morning.
Well, good morning, Erica, and good morning to our viewers on the West on this Memorial Day. It's now week 2 of campaign surrogates who are kind of straying off message. The latest was yesterday when former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani seemed to give almost a backhanded compliment to his candidate, Mitt Romney.
In 2008, Rudy Giuliani ran a tough campaign against Mitt Romney for the Republican nomination. And this weekend, his words came back to haunt him when CNN's Candy Crowley asked him how he had compared his record as New York mayor with Romney's as governor of Massachusetts.
There's a certain amount of personal ego in that. At that point, I was probably comparing his record to my record. I had massive reduction in unemployment. He had a reduction in unemployment of about 8, 10, I think it was 15%. I had a reduction in unemployment of 50%.
Giuliani quickly got back on message, saying Romney was far more qualified than President Obama, though he still said he saw a way the president could win.
If he gets an economy that starts improving, then it could be anybody's ballgame.
It's not the first time campaign surrogates have gone off the rails. Newark, New Jersey Mayor Cory Booker, a supporter of Mr. Obama, said last week that he disagreed with the Obama campaign's attacks on Romney's time at the private equity firm Bain Capital, in a soundbite that quickly became a Romney advertisement.
It's nauseating to the American public. Enough is enough.
The Bain storyline continued to play out over the weekend, with Romney supporters looking to define the Bain attacks as anti-business.
The president's hostile rhetoric to private investment and job creators is highlighting the fact that his policies are hostile to private investment and job creators.
But on Face the Nation, the president's senior campaign advisor fought back.
Well, this has nothing to do with being anti-business. This is a criticism, and a good criticism, quite honestly, of Mitt Romney's only thesis for being president of the United States, that he's some kind of economic savior.
Now, other than what you heard right there from Robert Gibbs, the consensus over the weekend was pretty much that the Obama campaign has kind of stumbled out of the gate with these Bain attacks. So the campaign now is going to double down. They've got plans to step up those attacks this week. And what they're going to do is tie them, or at least try to tie them, to Romney's record as governor. Erica and Gail?
Jan Crawford in Washington. Jan, thank you.
You know, we should just get a clip of all the Republican candidates and everything they had to say about Mitt Romney last time ago, so that way people can see that not even the candidates that endorse him like him. Now look, if I was running for president and there was somebody else on the stage with me that I admired or that I thought would do a good job, I wouldn't wait till he was the final person left to endorse him or speak highly of him. I would do that anyways, because I'm about the right person being elected, or the right person being elected, even if it's not me. But these candidates just go along. It's all a show. It's all just for show. It's all a script. Anyways, I'm your host, Paco. You're listening to Occupy the Media. We'll be back after the break.
Hi, I'm Dana, and I started out as a Ron Paul fan just like you. And now I'm a full-time volunteer leader at our Ron Paul headquarters in Venice, California. It starts with the first thing you hear Ron Paul say that is different than all the other politicians and that you just happen to agree with 100%. Next, there's a point where you realize that you agree with everything he has to say, and then, well, what's next? If you live in Los Angeles, you're lucky enough to be near the heart of the grassroots campaign center we have at 1728 Abbott Kinney Boulevard, Suite 103 in Venice, California. We're between Washington and Venice Boulevard in a big green building with plenty of parking. We work and make high priority phone calls from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days a week until Ron Paul is president.